The auditions for Britain's Got Talent Series 18 officially come to a close with the final audition episode before we head to the semi-finals next week. Well, actually, this week at the time of recording the video. But honestly, it was such a great episode to end off the auditions, and we had basically quite a few great acts actually this week. And we had the montage acts, of course, that's usual. But also we had Amanda's Golden Buzzer this week, which was an audience member, which we'll get to just a little bit, but we got a lot to talk about in this week's recap and review of Britain's Got Talent Series 18 before the semi-finals, so let's get straight into the video. Alright folks, so as you know, Saturday was the final audition episode before, so basically it was the final audition episode, basically, and this week is the semi-finals, so this Saturday, at the time of recording the video, we'll be having the semi-finals happen, and we'll basically see all the first 8 singers, 8 acts competing for a spot in the final next month in May. I cannot wait for that. And also, I can't believe it's the audition episodes that are officially done. I just can't believe it. So we'll have to find out who makes the semi-finals now. I do know that the Blackouts are on week 1. I know that. I know that's the one I guarantee of. But the others, I have a feeling I know who's going to be on it. And the others, I don't know. Like, there's just speculation. I've heard Vinny might be on there, Eden Choi. I've heard there's just speculation. But if that is true, this is going to be a tough semi-final. Because if so, 3 of those acts are my top 3 this year. So it's going to be so tough to see who's going to go through then. But anyways, back to this video. And hopefully, I do this with audio this time. Because if you remember, I did my recap and review last week. But I stupidly muted my mic because I didn't realise. But then when I went to rewatch the video, I realised I stupidly muted my mic and there was no audio. So I was like, how did I was kicking myself because I was like, oh come on, I've muted myself talking over my recap and I was so proud of it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep up there. If it's silent, I don't care. It'll have to do. But honestly, anyways, hopefully that's. I mean, as of right now, the microphone's on. My settings are on. The volume's loud enough. In a way. Hang on, I need to get Wikipedia, the fandom on because that's where I do my talking. So I need to get it up. Excuse me. I'm back in just a second, folks. I am back, folks. So, as I was saying about this week's episode, technically, it was fantastic. But anyways, let's get straight into the recap because it's currently 10:05 in the evening where I am in the UK. So let's just get into the video. So kicking off the night, we had, if you'll load, of course, there we go. We had Jerry Pop, aka his real name Jeremiah, 12 years old, who is a dancer. And hailing from Manchester, good old up north. He mentioned if he were to win the prize money, he would buy himself a car simulator, because he would really love to drive. And his big dream was to inspire. He basically wanted to tour the world and dance on an international scale. My apologies. And then the audition basically, he did a kind of like a body popping star routine to Boom Shakalaka and Yeah by Usher and Jump Around by House of Pain. All these great songs, and I just loved this. I mean, I loved this whole performance. I mean, even though maybe he wasn't the strongest dancer, he still had this like presence about him that just kind of made him so likable, and his confidence was so just up there. He's one of those acts that just gives me a breath of fresh air every time I watch them. And this is why I love BGT so much. We see these people having fun. KS, I mentioned, he loved it and he commanded the stage. And Amanda said that he was just cool and a natural performer. And all those I completely agree with. I totally agree with what they are saying. Him as a performer, he is such an entertainer. So he's just so likable and I will admit, like I mentioned, he may not be the strongest dancer in the competition, but he was definitely good for his age, and him just having this personality and just confidence, and he is actually kind of inspirational in a way, because you mentioned that he just wanted to do what he wanted to do in the show, and I think people can look up to people like him. So this was a really solid audition, and I absolutely loved this. I just loved it. It was a great start to the episode. Now, next up, we had one of my favourite acts of the night on Saturday, which was Manho Hand, the magician slash quick change artist. And believe it or not, he was one of the acts I was the most looking forward to seeing this year. He was shown in the trailers and the promos. I actually am kind of thinking myself, I didn't include it in my first video I did with me kind of talking about the acts that we could see, because I had Beanie Crew, I had Vinny, I had Bao, I had Obsequious, I had the Wannabes who were on unseen, and Alyssa Joseph, who actually didn't make the air, believe it or not, which I was kind of surprised about, because I had seen her content on the internet, and I thought she was very good. Um, but anyways, back to the video. So basically, he's Manho had a quick change artist slash magician from South Korea, and he mentioned that not only he wanted to become the first South Korean act to win the show, but he wanted to perform at the Royal Variety. So this performance, I thought, the whole routine I thought was just amazing. So he basically performed a quick change routine consisting of using various props located on the stage. So he had some glasses and in a book, and he basically used put the glasses on his face with the illusion. Then he had a wristwatch in the magazine. Then that which I thought was really cool. Then he got the guy of the braces, as you can see there, that made him go over his shirt, which now again was another really cool trick. Then he got the shoe. Basically got a bag, and I think it was the magazine, and he basically made into a shoebox and had a pair of shoes inside that he was wearing. But he actually actually tripped over after he'd done that, and I actually felt really bad for him. I must be honest, because I just him falling over. I was kind of like, wait, is this part of the act? Is he going to be changing into another suit or something? But then I realised, I was thinking to myself, oh, actually, no, he might have fallen over. But he actually recovered really well. He basically just recovered. He said he was fine, and he continued on the act like a complete professional. So good on him for that. Then he was processing the shoes, and then basically he basically turned the props into several shopping bags, as you can see, and he did it to APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, which I've heard that song before, I think, but I mean, for me, this act was just complete world class. It was amazing. Alicia mentioned the attention to detail was absolutely superb, and Simon mentioned that the fact it went wrong sort of made the act better, because things do go wrong, and it's true, and it is very true that things can go wrong. And he picked himself back up. He continued the routine like a complete pro. And I thought he was just incredible. It's just everything about the whole routine, this whole act was just world class. He is world class, and not only the magic was very intriguing to watch, just from from the quick change art, like the quick change, the kind of his persona, like his showmanship is really good, and just and the charisma as well. But he is also the type of person who, with that type of act, I could seeing in Las Vegas. I could see his act having his own show in Vegas. I could see him touring around the world. I could even see this act. I could even see him at the Royal Variety. It's such a unique way of doing magic, and we don't often get many quick change artists on the show, from what I remember. But I think this has got to be one of the best magic acts I've seen this year. I think him and Eden Choi are definitely the two best magicians this year. I don't know if it's just because they're from South Korea. I'm not saying that, but just both those magicians are just amazing. And so I just it just, I just think he's just superb. He's an absolute superb magician. And another contestant, I can see him being a dark horse in the competition. I think depending on who he's up against, I can see him kind of making it far. If I'm honest, with you. I can see him maybe being a finalist or maybe getting to the judge's choice. But I don't know. Look, I actually heard they're actually using the golden buzzer in the semi-finals, which I'll talk about in my next video. Which I am going to do my update predictions. If so be on the lookout for those. But anyways, I thought this guy was just amazing. Definitely one of my favorite ones of the night. I thought he was effortless. Sorry for my mispronunciations. But in all seriousness, he was just amazing. The whole routine was amazing. His showmanship was amazing. So slick. He was brilliant. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Hopefully the next slide will open. There it is. So next up we had Raymond Marshall, aka the Singing Bin Man. Let me get him up quickly. Where is he? There he is. Raymond Marshall, aka the Singing Bin Man, who is a singer, a dancer. He hailed from Barbados. So good old but currently living in Great Yarmouth. And as you mentioned, he's an actual bin man. He does the lorry driving. And basically he did an original song basically about his job as a bin man. He did some dancing, and then Anton Deck came out and they basically threw some bags of litter into the bin. Where you do your recycle, you put the rubbish in your recycling. Americans, I don't know if you call it. Do you call it recycling bins? You probably call it the trash cans. Throw away in the trash. But in the UK, we have the recycling bins. You put your rubbish in, and the lorry basically takes it over. And just he kind of reminded me a bit of Donchas Dacus, a bit of Gambino Akinboy from last year, and this may be a bit of a stretch here, but also a little bit of Shaggy, if that makes sense, because Shaggy has that type of that type of vocal tone, especially here in Mr. Boombastic. In a way, if you've heard it, I'm sure everybody's heard that song. Bruno mentioned that he loved, his natural groove, and also Amanda said it was a lot of fun and he had great charm, and I completely agree. This was something. I don't know if this is everybody's favorite type of act, but I just loved it. I absolutely loved this guy. He's just so fun. The act was fun. The singing wasn't too bad, but he was so entertaining. I just really enjoyed it. It was. It's one of these acts I just really enjoyed watching, and I loved it. I absolutely loved. I just loved this act. I don't know why. I just enjoyed it. I just can't say enough. I just brought the biggest smile to my face on the episode. He was just so positive, so fun. I kind of hope we see him in the live shows from honest with you, because I would love to see him, because he's just so entertaining. I can't say enough. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Next up, we had Harry and Lewis, the dance duo. And so I've seen a lot of people say that these two could go really far. And I'm not going to lie, I could as well. So Harry and Lewis, a dance duo from Manchester and the Wirral. I've never heard of the Wirral before. Isn't that somewhere? Hang on, the Wirral, UK. It's near Merseyside. Okay. So they're aged both 27. You know. So basically, they basically worked as dance teachers who aimed to teach young children how to dance at the time. And basically, I think they met at some sort of place and they became best friends there, which I thought was really nice. And this performance, was just amazing. I mean, it was just so incredible, which we'll get into now. So the performance basically was a dance routine, and it consisted of them kind of moving their bodies in like a robotic manner across the stage, and they did it to can't remember the songs they did it to, but these guys were just sensational. Not only the choreography was amazing, but the slickness, the movements, the body movements, like just everything about the whole act was so cool, and just how in sync those two were together. It kind of reminds me of Twist and Pulse from Series 4 back in 2010. Um, and so, it kind of gave me that vibe, but like in this generation, and just, the amount of effort, as like Alicia mentioned, that it must have been put into the act was just was effortless. You can tell how much hard work was put in. I could see these guys definitely being fan favorites to go far, and just there's something about these two I just love. I don't know why, but like I know they got great personalities, but they're just the choreography, the music choices were amazing. Just the whole performance was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. Just yeah, I there's no way they're not going to be in the semi-finals. If they're not in the live shows, I'm going to be fuming. I'll be absolutely fuming. So yeah, I'd be amazed if these two weren't in the semi-finals. I would, because I think they're just amazing. Like I mentioned, they could be fan favorite. Hang on, I thought I heard something there. Did I hear something? No. Okay, ignore me. I thought I heard something. Anyways, I was saying, Harry and Lewis, I thought were just fantastic. Great audition, great performance, and I think they could be fan favourites this year. I think they definitely could be firm favourites to go quite far. I just thought they were brilliant. I thought absolutely fantastic. And next up, we had a very interesting act now, which was Yichin's son, who is a paper plane thrower from China, but currently living in Harrow, age 34, and is a aircraft design lecturer. Um, so basically, this was a quite interesting routine. So he basically created several origami paper planes. And by the way, if you've ever attempted doing a paper plane, I feel bad for you because they are very hard to do. Um, and before having the first one was flying kind of a circular motion, the second one was like a bird and it flew into the audience. So I think someone caught it, and the third one actually popped a balloon, you know, so which I thought was really cool. And then the last one was using a huge cutout of Simon's face, which Antideck brought out, as you saw in the photo at the start of the video. And he basically went up to the audience, so like the balcony, and he threw the paper planes, or tried to. It did take him a few attempts to do it, but he got in his fourth attempt, which is good for him. You know, just I don't think. Look, I think this was a very unique act, very different, and you could tell he was just having the best time up there. He was literally loving being. He was loving the doing it. You can tell he was loving every single moment of this audition. So bless him for that. But I don't think this is an act I could see winning at all. I don't think it's going to make the live shows, but it's very clever what he was able to do. So I gotta give full on props to him for doing what he did, and it was quite a cool act when you think about it. Using paper planes and just very unique, a very very unique act if I say so myself. And now next up we had I have to say the best comedian without a doubt, the best stand-up comedian this year without a doubt, Joseph Charm. And I hang on, get him up quickly. Comedian from Southeast London, living in Milton Keynes. Um, you know, um, so and so okay. So as I say, he's 32 years old, a comedian from Milton Keynes, and and I think from the moment he stepped on the stage, I was like, okay, I've got a good thing about him, and I was right, and I was definitely right in that. So the routine started off with him basically doing a little brief rendition of Everybody by the Backstreet Boys, kind of getting the audience involved, and he was like, okay, I just want to try it out just in case someone didn't like my singing, my comedy. And then basically made remarks about parenthood and kind of seeking respite from children about how, take them to nursery, being a father, and, for the second time, and just he made jokes about, his son waking up early in the morning and feeling like, the parents would be kind of held hostage, and about being in the nursery, kind of like how, of kind of like, and just everything about the whole routine I absolutely loved. The physicality was amazing. Just everything. We'll get to the comments now. So, Alicia, and by the way, as soon as he ended his performance ended, he was very just emotional. Like you could tell how much it meant to him. So Alicia mentioned that she loved that. She loves that because it is genuinely so relatable, and more importantly, your delivery, your confidence, and charm on stage. You know, because his surname is Charm, so she was kind of joking there. Really shone, and she was very happy for him. And Simon mentioned this, that meant a lot to him, and talking about how hard comedy is, and it really is. Stand-up comedy is probably the hardest thing ever to do because once you lose the audience, it's game over. Like you can't go back. But like from the moment he stepped on the stage, I think everybody felt a buzz of just this energy that he was going to be very good, and he was excellent. He was absolutely fantastic. Just not only the material was so relatable, but the writing was good. His personality is amazing. The physicality, the voices he did, and just like he seems so genuine. It's amazing, and you can tell how much it meant him for that reaction. Like that was a proper reaction that he got. So, you could honestly, I have so much respect, for him for doing that, and just I absolutely love him as a person. He's so likable, so down to earth, just so like he's just so blessed, that he was on the stage and just him getting emotional was just amazing. Seeing how much it meant to him, and he is the type of contestant I could see going to the finals. I can see him going really far in the competition. So, and especially with the comedy over the past few years, have been really, really solid. Like we've had quite a few comedian winners over the years. We've had Axel Blake, Vigo Venn, Lost Voice guy. I mean, John Courtney. You could technically count because he did a bit of comedy, he did a bit of singing, but I absolutely loved this performance. It was definitely the top three of the night. And I've seen a lot of people were saying he deserved the golden buzzer, and I honestly can't complain with that. I was kind of surprised myself he didn't get the golden buzzer because I absolutely would have done if I was on the panel. I would have given him that golden buzzer. Just he is just such a breath of fresh air. So you can see how much it meant to him, and I'm so happy that he did the show. And I really hope we see him go really far in the competition, as he is just he is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It was fantastic. And finally, we had the final act of the night, and in my opinion, the best one as well. Kind of saying the best till last, which was Max Fox. Now this is going to be quite long to talk about because he actually didn't audition in the way like you would think because he actually was actually an audience member by audition. But so he mentioned, anyways, he's 35 years old. He experienced that his passion was to perform. So basically, before his performance, he was sat, in the audience, and he asked Simon if he could actually present with the opportunity to audition for him, and the production crew granted him, and basically explained that he'd been attempting to perform in front of him since he was 16, but he never got the opportunity. And I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, this was clearly a setup," blah blah blah, etc., etc., etc. Now, I will say, I can see why people think that because how reality TV do these storylines and how they edit everything together. It's very clever, by the way. But hang on, give me a second, folks. Give me a sec. Hang on. Right, back, guys. So I need to quickly wrap this up because it's quite late. And anyway. So as I mentioned, I do think I can see why people think it could have been scripted, but I do think this was actually genuine. I do think he wanted to do it, and Simon was like, "Are you sure this isn't a setup?" And he was convinced, and even showed him the ticket as well. And so basically went backstage with, to prepare, and we had about a bunch of montage acts happening, and so. So that was that. And then he came on the audition and he performed My Way by Frank Sinatra. Originally written by Paul Anka, for those you don't know. And, I mean, his voice, This performance was just amazing. It was an amazing performance and a proper way to end off the auditions, in my opinion. Like his powerhouse vocals were just through the roof. It kind of reminded me of someone who was on the West End, and like his voice is just so enormous. I felt like I was watching a Broadway show, watching it through the TV screen. He was just amazing, and the reaction he got was crazy as well. As soon as he ended, like the crowd were on their feet, and were wanting the golden buzzer too, which Amanda gave him, and but rightfully so, in my opinion. And the fact doing this, he wanted to do this since he was 16, never got the chance to do it. I'm so glad he's been given the opportunity to do it because he has got a fantastic voice. His range is amazing, and the way he controlled the song as well was just wonderful. So again, he's another contestant I can see going pretty far in the competition. I could see him in the top three. He's doing quite well in the betting odds, so I could definitely see him being a dark horse there. But yeah, this was undoubtedly the best performance of the night and a proper way to end off the show as the auditions. So an amazing performance from Max, and I cannot wait to see him in the semi-finals and see what he's got for us. So there you have it. That is the final audition episode for BGT Series 18, officially recapped and reviewed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, who your favourite acts from the final episode was, and are you guys excited for the semi-finals? Because I am as well. On Wednesday, I'm going to do my recap and based on my updated predictions, who I think is going to make it all the way to the final. They are doing the golden buzzer in the semi-finals, which I probably won't do it for because I do have an idea for my top three. I'll do that. I'll probably do like a community post, kind of talking about it briefly. But let me know in the comments below who your favourite acts from last week's episode technically, and who do you think could be contenders to go all the way now that the auditions are over? Who do you want to see in the semi-finals? Who do you think could go to the final? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and press notifications on. I would really appreciate that. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, I will see you guys next time.